Self-made millionaire tips with my friend Shai, Imperial Vintage Guitars. Very interesting story. Entrepreneur, kind of no resume, and built this very interesting business. Kind of fell into it, I would say. Fair.
I think no resume is my new middle name.
No resume.
It's gonna be Shai no resume Ashkenazi.
Never had
That's my
a
street
resume.
name.
You know why it sticks in my head too is I kind of think of him like you as Anthony Bourdain, no reservations. It's sort of that connection to you. So we were talking about you started the guitar place first month, just brought some guitars you had, kept the overhead low, small locations, 8 to 1,200 square feet. And you're just kind of finding your groove in Burbank and decided, I think initially you said you decided, I don't know if I want to go in every day. And then you just kind of fell into it, right?
I fell into it. I developed passion,
In 2012, 2013, you're kind of hitting your groove. You got 2 locations at this point. What are you finding at that point is areas that you thought were going to be really good profitability-wise and you went away from, or sort of vice versa? What were you, you had 3 years, 4 years of intel. Like what was coming out about the business that you didn't realize?
Well, that's a
loaded question.
That's a loaded question with many ways to answer.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I learned in the 2-3 years that I've been doing it on the first store. First of all, you really never know what's going to come through every single day.
What's going to come in the door?
What's going to come in the door? Who's going to come in? And for a person with FOMO like me, I can't be late to work, even though it's my business, and I can also not show up at all. But that FOMO thing in my head, which makes me, well, what if between 11 and 11:50, 11 is when we open the store. What happens if with the first half an hour somebody comes in with a $100,000 guitar they just want to get rid of, and I'm not there? He's going to go to another place, or because people don't want to wait.
No,
they don't want to waste their time.
Right.
So you never know what's going to come in, when it's going to come in. And also, when I had the second location, I realized how different a population is between 2 towns that are adjacent to each other. It's insanely different. Burbank, which till today is my favorite store, it's our, I would say, crappiest looking location. It's small, it's dingy, it's clean, but it's like kind of like our experimental store that we never really changed. Has my favorite clientele. It's a lot of industry people, but a lot of like not actors, CEOs, not front men, like producers, people who are very successful that you wouldn't know, that would still come in Crocs and socks and shorts, and you don't really know, and all of a sudden they pluck a $20,000 guitar from the wall and run their black Amex, and I'm like, oh, I don't think this person's going to have money.
Yeah.
And then I got Sherman Oaks, which is really, and it's kind of generalizing, but there is a lot more celebrities and CEOs and lawyer doctors and, professionals that have money as opposed to being musicians. And then when we expanded to the third and the fourth location, it just kind of repeats itself in it basically develops a lot of people ask me, which one is your favorite? I don't really have a favorite. It's like I have 4 kids right now, and they're all completely different personalities.
Yeah. Different buyers, different clientele.
And one week I like to hang out with this kid, and then the other kid I like to hang out with that.
So celebrities, and these aren't celebrities that are musicians necessarily. They could be, but there's, because of the beauty of guitars or just the collectability. What do you think is drawing people that don't, I'm sure there's people like you that don't play guitar that buy guitars, right?
Yeah.
What
half my clientele I don't think play guitars at all.
What do you mean? You don't think they play?
There is a lot of rich guys that come through that buys a guitar and they don't even play it, and they don't
Really?
even test it. Plenty. And or
What
they
do they
make
do
an
with
attempt. Why do they do it?
What do they do with the guitar?
They look at it, they ask me questions, they either believe everything I say, which is 90% the truth most of the time, and no, the only thing that I'm saying that are not truth are opinions, and I give them a disclosure before. I'm like, I'm going to tell you an opinion now, so this is not a fact. There's a lot of people want information, but
Well, they want predictions. Like, if I buy it, where do you think it's going to be in 10? How would anybody know?
And I'm very honest about it. And I mean, I literally, before I came here, a guy walked in to sell me a guitar, and I bought it for this much, and I'm only going to get this much, and I'm going to lose this much. And I told him, it's not. You bought an instrument, you played it, you used it, just like a car. You're not going to buy a car, use the car, and then expect to sell it for more money when you're done.
So he thought because it's vintage that it necessarily had gone up, and it hadn't.
Yeah, but the thing is, and like I told him, I told him, you're not in this business. Just like I'm not in real estate. I can't go get a good deal on a house, not even now, like at any given time. Because who am I to get a good deal on a house? There's so many people who purchase real estate and properties even as a hobby, forget as a profession.
Right.
Who am I to get a good deal on a house? The billion people before me going to see that house before me.
When you in 2013, did you ever have a situation where someone came in and they were selling you a guitar that you're like, it was so much money, but you knew it was right, or because you're saying 20,000, 15, I mean probably 100. Has there been times where you just said, I got to buy this, I know I'm going to sell it, or or did you walk away from a deal because it was just too much?
Yeah, I do it all the time. I do it more now than before, because as time goes by, there is more platforms out there. So again, when makes me feel old saying that, but it was in my 20s and I was here, I had a dial-up connection and I had a fax machine and all these things. And now you can think about something and it pops in your head.
Sure.
We're going to be very, very close to have like these, not insoles, contact lens implants in your hand, right. And you're gonna go on the internet and you're gonna do something with your eye, something creepy, and you're gonna get information. We're almost there.
Yeah.
So the problem is there is too much information now, and it doesn't necessarily make you smarter, because most people are too lazy to look at stuff correctly. So now the result is, if before I had people coming in and wanting my information based on the very little information they can obtain, now everybody is an expert. Everybody's an expert. Everybody comes in and I'm like, how much you want for a guitar? I want $10,000. I'm like, how did you arrive at that number? Well, I see them out there for that. They sell for $7,000.
Right.
So and then this is where doing business right and makes me successful comes into play. I'm usually very honest with people. I'm very direct. I'm not rude, but I would tell them all the information and I will try to force them to see that it's backed up. I will take them to the right sites and show, look, this is where I see I basically do the magic trick and tell them how I did the magic trick.
Yeah.
And I let them decide if they want to enjoy the magic and buy it or not. It's really up to them.
And people can put any price on anything online too, right? So just because it's priced something online doesn't mean it's actually going to sell.
It's not. I mean, I do a lot of research about stuff that I don't know. When I bought my wife a wedding ring, that was the first piece of jewelry I ever bought in my life. I don't know how to buy diamonds. I have no idea. I could buy a piece of glass and somebody could sell to me for $20,000. I would have no idea.
Right.
I did a little research online, and then I went to stores. I went to a store at the mall. I went to like those Kevin Jewelers and those places. And 3 months into it, I ended up in some building downtown at the jewelry building, going through some door, behind the door,
right.
to the really kind of the source. And I got a good deal. And I knew at that point I could have been a jeweler easily. I could grade diamonds for you. Now I don't remember because I had to do it only once.
Yeah. Thank God.
Maybe again next year. But
but did early in 2013, 2012, I mean, routinely, are you buying $20,000, $30,000 guitars, or at that point it's less? And what are you? I mean, as a business, I mean, if you buy a $20,000 guitar and you don't sell it right away, I mean, you don't want something like that to sit, right? I mean, isn't that a big part of your strategy? Like in your head, you're thinking, I can move this thing quick.
So you buy everything you can move, and over the years, I've started getting into more and more obscure stuff. Mm-hmm. It's not a joke. Somebody offered me a llama. People would call with so many things to trade in and to sell.
Wait, what do you mean?
The animal llama.
For a guitar?
No, somebody said, do you guys do you take trades? Yes. Well, I have a bit of an unusual offer. I got a llama, and I'm like, all right, is this Jeff? Who is this? I'm like, no, I really am. I have a guy that pranks me all the time. I'm like, And he's like, no, I really do. I live in Sun Valley. I got llamas. I mean, I know it's weird, but would you? And I get offers like that on a weekly basis. People would offer motorcycles. They would offer. I mean, every once
How
in a
many
while.
llamas do you have now?
I got 4 llamas, and this is what I want to tell you about. This is where the self-made millionaire come because I've opened a speeding farm up in Tahanga.
Good. Yeah,
where
this is another side hustle.
That's another side hustle. We'll have another episode about that.
Oh my God. Okay.
But I basically, so the name of the shop and our logo, it was just kind of a brain fart. We didn't really think about it much. I didn't really care at that point. I didn't even believe I'm going to make enough money doing that.
Sure.
So I just kind of threw a name and somebody made a logo. And, you know, I'm all about rebranding and that, but I don't care. So
well, it's a good name.
It's yeah, I guess. I mean,
I like the name.
I got a lot more better names now that I'm you know.
You have like 10 new names.
I got so many new names and logos in mind, but I don't want.
Yeah. So when you're growing 2013, 14, and things are happening. It's a small shop. You start to hire.
We started hiring.
And how was that for you? Were you comfortable with that?
You know, I was comfortable with that because. How should I say it? Just like I said, I don't really have a resume or like a professional kind of way to approach a job position. That's how I hire. I never gave a job interview. I would source out people who wants to do it. Nowadays, I do it through Instagram. I just post something on our Instagram and we're hiring. Send me a quick video of yourself.
And you get a lot of hits already?
I get a lot of hits. 80% of them are, excuse me, a joke. It's just ridiculous. I have plenty of stories about.
What do? Like they have like a guitar and they start singing?
I have a guy showed up to. It's before I see them in person. I just want to kind of get a sense.
Of course, yeah.
Everybody wants to work for us, but nobody really wants to work.
Right.
I mean, it's just kind of a general thing, but also think about it. My general target demographic are musicians. Musicians are known not to be generally. You got to be a certain kind of person to really not go to work and produce real money and just believe in your music and hope that it's going to succeed. As good as you are or you're not, you know, it's not realistic.
Right.
You got to also wait tables or I don't know, work at a bank, something. Right?
So this is like their ideal job.
There is they see it on Instagram or they pop into the store every once in a while like, oh my God, sitting in this workspace surrounded with guitars and
it's amazing.
You know, I can have a lot of analogies. I don't know how dirty I can get in my analogies, but like imagine going to work at a strip club.
Yeah, exactly. I get where you're going.
You just gotta work.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you get to do anything.
Yeah.
So they basically think they're gonna go and sit and play the guitar. That's what they gotta do for a living. But matter of fact, it's work. You gotta string them and clean them and photograph them and post them online. I'm not selling a product I got 1,000 of something. I got all my inventory is one of each. Mm-hmm. Even the new stuff that we're also a new dealer for some brands. They're all serial numbered and they're all different grains and different colors. So I can't buy 10 of something and say, okay, I got 10 of those. I got 10 of those, but they're all different.
So you don't just sell older guitars. You do have some newly...
So over time, hence like the llama analogy, or not analogy, it's a real story. People will come in with different kind of guitars. And a lot of the stuff I buy, to be honest with you, I don't really want to buy or deal with. But when you have things on the table like 300-400% profit on them, you're really going to leave that on the... If somebody walks in with $100 guitar that you can sell for $600, you know, you may think, well, that's not a lot of money, but that's a big profit margin.
That's a big profit. And also, a lot of people can afford that.
A lot,
right?
I mean, that's the other thing. They sell faster.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I mean, there is a lot of sides to my business. I have my personal collection. I have a lot of stuff. That's what my passion goes to. But to pay the bills... Yeah, I'll sell a $50 guitar and a $100 guitar and a $200 guitar. I already have the store. I already have the staff. It's the same thing, you know?
And faster, probably.
And way faster.
And easier, yeah.
So
how much of your business, Shai, is selling in the store and how much is online, percentage-wise, if you had to...
So if I had to kind of guess, it's at least 70% online. I would say even 75%.
Oh, wow.
The benefit of having the store is more to buy.
To have people come in.
The main way I make my money is by buying. You know, again, if you're talking about real estate, I think real estate would be the same. Let's say in a really strong market of real estate where everybody buys a house, if you own a home, if you own a bunch of homes, or if you're an agent or a broker and you have a bunch of homes, in the market like this, or how it was a year ago, I guess, you know you're going to sell the home.
Sure.
How do you get the home? How do you get the listing? You know? So buying the guitars, getting them in, sourcing them, because again, it's vintage pieces. It's either people who are dying or have guitars in somewhere, or they don't even know what they have, or just things like that. They call it guitar safari. It's like you usually go out and you kind of do legwork and find them. Having the stores allows me to have people come in to the location, and they don't want to sell it online. They don't want to deal with. I mean, I don't want to sell the things that I don't know. I mean, if I have to sell my car, if I don't sell it within 1 month on my own, I'm letting a dealer make the money. That's fine. Make it 30%.
Right.
I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
This is where you have an edge on all other stores that are just dealing online. Sourcing these guitars from people who come in and have an actual, somewhat of a relationship with you, whether it's temporary or a lot of the time develops to real friendship. I have a lot of friends that I met through, the store. That's something that's kind of priceless. You can really get it anywhere else. And the places that you can get it from or at, there is not a lot of them. I treat people better. And I would say it without saying anything bad about competition, I guess. But I just, business is basically relationship. Any kind of business you're going to do, it's basically relationships. You treat somebody right,
they'll come back.
They'll come back. And at this point of my life, in the past, I would say even 5 to 8 years, I mean, that's how I pay my bills. That's how I support my family. That's how I make money. But I'm really not chasing money anymore like I used to in my 20s. I'm stable now to sustain my lifestyle and support my family. And of course, I want to make more money, but I don't need to make more money. So my focus is really on enjoying the process and enjoying selling a guitar or buying a guitar, knowing that, okay, if this person's not going to buy it, that person's going to buy it. There's really not a lot of other places you can go. You know what I mean? That gives me the edge on, I guess, competition, which is just not a lot of competition.
Yeah. Well, being picky probably is, you probably don't even realize that you're turning away business, and maybe part of you goes, maybe I should take that business, but part of you probably know what exactly you need to buy. And you're probably, when those deals come in, you buy those.
It's also the people. I can tell you there were plenty of people that I refused to sell a guitar for and then turn around and sell it to somebody else for less money just because they were nicer and I had a really good time dealing with them.
Yeah.
And I didn't care about the money. The money will come. And I really found that the moment I have a passion into something, the money comes. If you're chasing them, if you're doing it because you need to make, everybody, you got to make a living.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, I did in the first 10 years of my life here, I worked jobs that are not bad jobs, but I wouldn't do it now even for triple the amount of money. It doesn't appeal to me. But you get to a point that it becomes a passion and you put yourself into it. Worst case scenario, you're going to make a little bit of money, but really enjoy your life.
Yeah.
But in most cases, I really believe that if you put yourself into something, it's going to come.
Yeah.
It's going to come to you.
It should, especially if you have the passion. I know I've asked you about this too in the past. You don't really deal in guitars that are signed, right? It's not really, because my thought was like, oh, it's, signed by
Slash or Eric Clapton.
Right? And that's not really...
That's more memorabilia. That's a whole different market. That's basically putting a value on somebody's signature, not really on...
The guitar.
On a guitar. Like, again, I keep going to real estate, but imagine selling a house that has a certain value, but this used to be...
Well, like, for instance, I don't know if you saw the Brady Bunch house just hit the market.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw that online. Did you see
that?
I
saw
and
that.
And they want, like, some crazy...
But how much is the house really worth?
Right. The house is probably worth, $1.5 million, but they're selling it for like six or seven.
So
or
they're going to find a Brady Bunch, freak that wants to buy it, and they're going to buy it. That's okay. I get it.
But to kind of go with your analogy, it's the same thing.
But I don't find real value in it. I find like it's more of a sentimental value. I have a few guitars that are signed because, they came in and I bought them, but I didn't pay more for them because of the signature.
Right.
I'm asking a little bit more trying to find that person, but if it takes too long, I just say, you know what? The signatures are
it does,
free.
in a way, it kind of pigeonholes you, right? If someone doesn't like that celebrity, they're never going to buy it.
They minimize the market. You know how many guitars I bought with famous people signing them, and I just cleaned them up from the signature? There's
really?
So many.
That's funny.
A lot of them were celebrities who turned racist. A lot of them were celebrities,
right.
But a lot of them not. A lot of them just like stuff
They don't have the big demand. People aren't that excited. Do you have you mentioned before, you bought something recently that was, and you don't normally buy it, but did you buy a Jimi Hendrix guitar?
I did. We bought a guitar. So this is something that happens like very rarely. And it kind of happened by chance. But I bought a fairly rare guitar from a regular client of mine.
You were in the store or they called you?
No, that's a client that I've been dealing with for a few years that kind of goes to me. It's very specific. It happens to be a left-handed guitar. That's another very small market. They make left-handed guitars too. And there's about 10% of the guitars that are made are left-handed. So it just happens to be a left-handed guitar. It happens to be a rare model and in all original, in a rare finish. I'm not going to get into it, but it was just rare to begin with. And I bought it right, and I sold it fairly quickly. And
what's fairly quickly?
So I think from the moment I listed it, that's when I count it sold. Because sometimes I buy stuff and either don't have the time for it or put them aside for a minute. But the moment I put something out in the market, I consider it out. I think it took maybe a month, something like that. And it's a very specific guitar. So there is a very small demographic for it. But when it hit that demographic, they're going to buy it. Mm-hmm. So somebody bought it online. I think it sold for $35,000 or something. I don't know. And he was in Florida, and he took his time to pay because he didn't want to pay tax. And I tried to explain to him, I'm a business, I got to charge tax. I'm not making money off the tax. It was silly. I told him, you bought a rare unicorn guitar, you're going to, kick a tire over like $3,000 in tax that you got to pay. I mean, what do you want me to do? It's like, okay, I'll think about it. And I told him, okay, think about it over the weekend. It's okay. It was a Friday or a Thursday. I'm like, by Monday, you need to either pay me or I'm moving on. And the same day, somebody pointed out to me, he showed me a picture. He was like, look, I found this picture of Hendrix from 1970. He played some small club, and he has a guitar that looks exactly like this one. And he showed me a picture, and I'm like, it's black and white. I can't tell if it's the same guitar. So there were about 8 of those photos, and I put them through one of those, I download those apps that paints old pictures for you. Mm-hmm. That, again, I don't really believe in 100%. It's not, exact science, but I put all the pictures through that app, and all of them came up exactly the same color as that guitar that I had. And then I started to get excited. So I downloaded all the apps that offers that service. There were like 10 of those apps. Wow. And I put them, all the pictures on every single one of them came back blue, which is what the color of the guitar was. So I'm like, okay, well, that's one thing. I told the guy, look, I found these pictures. Maybe this guitar was Jimi Hendrix guitar. I don't know. But I'm just going to tell you, I'll honor you the sale if you pay me by Monday. Otherwise, I'm going to start digging into this, and I'm just pulling it out of the market. And he didn't pay by Monday. So this is what he did. He posted over the weekend a Facebook post with a picture of the guitar, and he started asking questions like, hey, anybody here knows anything about this guitar? Maybe it was... He basically tried to look for like some kind of a confirmation that it is.
Right.
And a friend of mine just texted me one morning. He's like, look what I found on Facebook. And the moment I saw that, I'm like, that's it. This guy is done.
Yeah.
Like you don't do that. That's kind of douchey. Yeah. You're not stepping up to pay, and you're also doing that. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? Maybe there is more money here. What am I doing? So I just I decided I'm not going to sell it to him. He calls me, I think Monday or Tuesday. He's like, okay, it's me. I'm ready to pay. I told him, I'm sorry, man. I gave you time, and you didn't, pay. I decided I'm moving on. And he's like, oh, I can't believe it. I'm like, what do you mean you can't believe it? I told you.
Yeah.
Just pay and we'll move on.
You're already paying $35,000. What's another $3,000?
I mean,
it doesn't make sense.
At that point, it doesn't make sense. But it's also like, look, most of my clientele, most of them are mature men that just happens to be, males. I would have loved to have more females, but it's mainly male driven, unfortunately. And they're all usually, it's all ages really and all genders. But it's mainly kind of like, I would say 35, 40 to 60.
Right.
A man in his 30s, 40s that can't make a decision by himself is like, I'm not going to hold your hand.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
Anyway, we started digging into it. It's been a year now, and I'm going to tell you that we are definitely at 50%. It was Hendrix guitar. We contacted Gibson. There is a lot of stuff. We found a photographer. Wow. We made it a thing. We have enough content, I think, to definitely have a small documentary out, which I'm not into, and I don't know how to do. If anybody wanted a passion project, that could be cool. But at this point, I have a guitar that is, I can basically ask I can make a number and I can ask for it, and I'm probably going to find a buyer for it. It could be $500,000, it could be $1 million,
wow.
It could be $250,000, it could be anything. So I kind of want to get, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity kind of deal.
Who can do it? Who can verify it? Is there?
Well, we spoke to Gibson, and they only made, long story short, they made 2 of that exact guitar, the same color, same configuration.
They only made 2 guitars.
So it's 50% that guitar.
Okay.
The only way to make sure at this point that it's 100% that guitar is to find the other guitar, and good luck.
I see. Yeah, good luck finding that.
So it may not exist. It may be destroyed.
But did Jimi Hendrix own both of the guitars, or he only bought one?
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
That's the thing. Most of the people that are involved in that story have died.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
It's but it's 50%.
Yeah, that's pretty
good. And if that's all I'm going to end up with, I'm still going to present it as a guitar. I'm not going to say this was Hendrix's guitar, but this is the year of research or year and a half of research we put into it. It's definitely 50% that one, but
would that be the biggest kind of home run buy?
Surprise home run buy.
Yeah.
You know, most of the other stuff, I mean, sometimes there's a home run. People would come in and have no idea what they have. They don't even care. It's like, I found this at my uncle's garage. I don't want this. How much you want? Well, give me $200. I'm like, I'll give you $300. Like, okay. And then it's worth $10,000. Wow. It doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah, but it happens.
It really doesn't. Again,
because now people do research.
People do too much research and they find out.
Right.
And I don't really take advantage of them. But I mean, really, if it happens twice a year, I want to take that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have the overhead, you have the shop. I mean, every once in a while.
It also depends on the person. Somebody comes in and say, "Look, I need to raise money for cancer or something." I'm like, "Okay, here's the deal. This is actually valuable, and I'm going to totally go there." But if I see some guy who's like not caring at all,
stole it from his ex-girlfriend.
That we have like procedures for. We have a lot of stolen stuff coming through. That's a whole other aspect of dealing with stuff.
So, how do you deal with stolen goods?
Well, It's kind of fun seeing the people who are trying to sell it. It's usually very obvious when something is stolen. It's usually, I mean, we've been tricked multiple times, but there is a way to legally do it by basically running it like a pawn shop. You run something through DOJ and serial number, and you got to wait a week. And if a week passes by, nobody claims it, it's yours. If somebody claims it afterwards, by law, I can recoup at least what I paid for it. So, and then I don't lose my license. So we do it properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
But majority of the people I deal with, I've dealt with for years. I know who they are. They're not stealing anything, you know.
So COVID, when COVID happened, one of the things that I heard but never confirmed is that it was actually the luxury businesses that stayed afloat. Was that the same experience you had?
I'm going to say, I mean, I guess I hate to say it because I got a lot of friends that really lost their businesses and really suffered during COVID. But we did, I think our best year was COVID, that we tripled our sales. People were buying people were buying guitars like they were buying toilet paper at Costco. They were buying like there is no tomorrow.
There were no toilet papers at
there wasn't. There weren't. Unless you go to the Costco, the business Costco in Van Nuys that nobody knows about. There's plenty of toilet paper there.
So your sales during COVID tripled.
They really tripled. And
did it drop off like even the first 2 months, or just as soon as COVID? People were home. They had a lot of time, right? I think they didn't know what to do with themselves.
I guess the reason I believe it happened is a mixture of a few things. I'm just looking at my life. We normally travel a lot. We spend a lot of money on the kids. We spend a lot of money on travel, and now we can't go anywhere. We were still making the same money. Some people were laid off. I mean, they had an order to close businesses, not essential business. We were supposed to close. I didn't close. I had one employee in each store. All we did is lock the front door, and we did kind of by appointment only. I wouldn't get also a lot of people didn't really come, but people were stuck at home and they would call us, "Are you guys open?" Because most businesses were closed. Yeah. And I said, we are by appointment only. Please wear a mask, If you don't feel well, don't come in. We were just kind of vetting people. We're just asking them. Yeah. We're very cautious, but I didn't shut down the business. Yeah. I had one guy in every store, so there is really no problem with employees complaining that they can get each other. And it was ridiculous. We sold a lot of stuff online. I had people coming to the store and through the window. One of my guys at that point that was working, he was really kind of freaking out about COVID and really worried.
Yeah.
But he still wanted a job. So I told him, you know what? I'll accommodate you. Wear a mask. Don't let people in. But don't close. Like, do business online. People would come to the window and they would say, that guitar. And he would show it to them through the window. It's like a $2,500 guitar. And like, yes. And then he's like, okay, let's
slide the card under?
Something like that. It was ridiculous. I have it on I have like my surveillance cameras. I have videos. I was like, really? Because when he just hit, of course, I immediately... I don't really panic, but I had a moment of panic, like, what's going to happen? We're going to get, again, shut down from like making this much money to nothing because of the pandemic.
Right.
And because it happened to everybody, I find a little bit of comfort within myself, like, well, it's everybody, it's not just me, so we'll handle it. But the point is that, so a lot of friends of mine that have like bicycle shops, or everybody ran out of stock. They just bought them out.
Everything.
Guns.
Yeah, people were buying. They were buying everything.
People were buying everything, and I kind of understand why. A lot of it had to do with, first of all, in California, you got a lot of money. You got a lot of free money. A lot of people who's making $2,000 a month, all of a sudden getting $2,400 a month without working. They had a lot
of discretionary income.
The government was giving some money to. Don't know how they handled that. I feel like just gave it away to everybody.
Yeah, well, we're paying for it now, of course.
Yes, but
we're all paying for it.
That's
why we have 10% inflation.
All of a sudden, somebody gets like $1,200 and they don't really need it. They buy a guitar.
Or
a lot of people find a reason. I bought an electric skateboard. Was that in a midlife crisis kind of combo?
At the same time. Yeah, same. So your business during COVID starts to really kind of grow, and you're like barreled in. But to kind of go before, I wanted to ask this because I know our time is short. Tell me about your Instagram and how your Instagram is so interesting, and you get hundreds of thousands of views, and you don't have like a professional firm. You've always
we kind of just do it ourselves.
You guys just do it. But what you guys do, funny videos. You guys do, it's not serious, I would say.
I'm just like my business. I'm very unprofessional, and not in a bad way.
Yeah.
I'm just not proper or professional because it's my business. I don't have to adhere to any. Like, my wife has a job, and sometimes I tell her stuff. It's like, oh my God, you would get sued so many times talking like that at my job, and I'm not even saying anything wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't need to be politically correct or worry about, as long as we're not malicious or racist or mean or anything like that, you kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And the benefit is that we really have an endless amount of content. Every day I get 10 to 15 guitars in from all the stores, and every guitar has a different story.
Right.
Every guitar is something else. It could be like an armadillo-shaped guitar that I got for free. I mean, that's content. Everything is content now, right? So we do have a lot. We never have a problem coming up with content. It's just more of doing it correctly, which is, who really knows how to do correct content? How do you know when to post, how often to post? I don't in what industry. Nowadays I feel like Instagram I don't really know how to do it.
But by the way, all that data you can get, but I will tell you, if it's not interesting, nobody cares.
But so interesting to who? That's the thing. I have a lot of celebrity friends. I made a lot of celebrity friends. When they come in, I convinced a lot of my celebrity friends who gets paid $80,000 for an hour commercial to come wear a stupid panda suit that I bought on Amazon for free and do something stupid for me for free because they're my friends and they have the same passion.
Yeah.
And nobody cares. And then you post a video of unboxing a guitar. Literally, just here's a guitar and unboxing, taking out
and that gets more views.
Boom, 1 million views. I'm like, what? What's wrong with you? Mind you, I love watching like power pressure washing videos. That really does it for me. I love that stuff. But it's crazy.
I don't want to dive too much into that. I think that's a whole other
podcast.
So we don't have a lot of time, but maybe just last question.
Yeah.
In terms of marketing, aside from Instagram, do you do paid advertising? How do you get the word out?
I may be doing it wrong, but it has been working for me. But I basically never paid for advertising. I tried a couple of times to pay for advertisement, didn't work. Our advertising is more direct. I know advertising is good and it's very important. The problem is, again, like just all the platforms today, like you don't know what to watch on TV and you don't know where to go shop. Everybody sells you advertisement and everybody wants to get your business because that's how they make money. So I don't really know who's sincere about their advertisement. Who can really promise me results? You know,
everyone can promise you.
Well, who can really
I get 47 emails a day.
Exactly. And I would, and I tell all of them, I would gladly give you my money if it works. I feel like they should do it. I mean, it's not like, I don't know how much time and money they spend into this for them to kind of let me taste it for free. Let me see if it works.
By the way, we've tested some, and people that actually can drive leads, they'll give you some. They'll let you test it. But the ones that don't, you're
exactly
right. You're ready.
And look, at the end of the month, you can spend like 20, 30 grand on advertisement and get nothing back. So the majority of your overhead can become marketing.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's word of mouth for you?
But a lot of it is word of mouth.
Shai has built a brand. He's got a brand. He didn't spend any other money. And by the way, a lot of people spend money on paid ads and they don't even focus on the brand. I'm sure now if you did Yelp I'm sure you could monetize because you have a brand.
Absolutely.
But if you don't need to, you don't have to. And more importantly than everything, the integrity of the brand is the biggest key.
It's really relationship. So it may be a slower growth. I don't think we grew slowly. I actually think we grew kind of fast considering it's all really how you look at it. I can look at it, but I could have done a lot more and faster, or wow, look what I've done in like, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 years of the locations. But instead, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, uneducated and unprofessional opinion, if I make a shirt with a logo, I will put money into the shirts. I get really nice quality. I only get stuff I would wear, and I would be picky. I'm not getting the cheap shirts, like whatever is. And then we sell them sometimes. I mean, you have to have apparel in a business that you are branding, but I would give a shirt. If I give somebody a shirt that costs me $10 and they wear it, I got a $10 billboard walking around there.
Yeah.
What advertisement do I buy for $10? If people come into the store and I tell them, look, I'll give you a pack of strings, you know, either give me a good review. I usually don't do it. I just, we just ask, hey man, can you do this? I don't really care about the review, but it's all search, SEO, words, all that stuff.
All that stuff is key. I mean, the reviews are big, and I think, what you've built is a business that, I mean, it's a very, like, you could easily sell. I don't know if you are or whatever, but it's a business that it's easy to keep open. You can sell it. You could sell. I mean, that's the entrepreneur's dream, right? Someone could go in and go 4 locations. You guys are, and they'd throw a number at you, So, and whether you want to do that or you just keep doing it and making money or whatever, you've created a niche. I think that's the cool thing about your business is that you've created a niche, built a brand, and you're doing it the way you want to do it, and that's the best part.
That's pretty much it. And I really enjoy it. I enjoy it to a level. I refuse what I don't want to do. Right. I do what I want to do, and I don't care what people think. Yeah. We only mean well.
Right.
And we get to choose who we want to deal with and choose who we don't. There's not a lot of that.
Yeah.
Going on.
Well, and I think to wrap up, you got to go check out. Well, I would say go check out Imperial Vintage Guitars, but Shai may not let you in, right? I mean, if he doesn't like you, you're not going to let...
It really kind of depends.
It kind of depends on the day. If you catch Shai on a day,
I prefer for you to be charming when you walk in.
Charming and nice.
And if you're coming in full of bad energies, honestly, just let me know. No, honestly, you just let me, hey man, I'm having a terrible day. Bam. Yeah. And if you let me know in advance, I will take a deep breath and I will fix it. I will make it better for you.
I like how you're training the client how to act in your store.
It should be. It's my store. It's my store. Where else are you going to go?
I love it. Thank you very much.
Thank
you. A lot
of
fun. It was fun to be here. I'm excited. Imperial Vintage Guitars. Check it out. Shai.